All right, we've made it to Twickenham in London. I'm joined by fellow content creator, rugby content creator, Victoria Rush. Thanks for coming on the channel.
Hey, thanks for having me. You guys have come much further than I have, so.
Yeah, I know, not too far from Edinburgh at least.
Not too far, yeah.
So what's sort of the vibe like in England at the moment with this big clash coming up on Saturday, England versus the Springboks, the almighty Springboks at the moment?
I think you're probably a little more looking forward to it a little bit more than we are. The England squad has the depth to challenge. You know, we saw it in the World Cup semi-final. There is more to that team than maybe we give them credit for sometimes. Recent results, haven't exactly gone our way. Last weekend against Australia was such a shame. Really thought in the first half, and I sat down in the corner, I thought we've got something here. And maybe a few stoppages took the edge off the game, took away some momentum. Ollie Slightholme coming on, scoring 2 tries. Like, really thought there was something going to happen.
Yeah.
A couple of people started to leave the stadium, 2 points in it, like a minute to go, 80 minutes, and that try in that bottom corner really killed us.
But England are showing like great signs of a very, very good team. I mean, the first 30, 40 minutes in that game against Australia.
Oh, it was a brilliant game.
They were on it. And then it sort of seems like in the last 20 to 30 minutes, they sort of fall apart a little bit. I don't know why you guys are taking Marcus Smith off.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was pretty difficult when the big screen shot to George Ford taking his jacket off and everybody boos. And I don't condone that for any player. At the end of the day, they're playing for their country and they're sat in the stands having a beer. So if you're going to say something to somebody, you need to at least be at his level to have, in my opinion, especially to boo somebody like that. Putting Marcus Smith at 15, saw him against Fiji, he was great, but you're kind of asking him to do a lot, if not everything, for the team. You're trying to ask him to be the playmaker and then just drop into 15. And George Ford, I guess you can't blame him. Maybe Finn Smith should have been given a chance, a little bit more excitement in a player that could come on and make a real difference. So it was tough, and I really feel for them losing that edge when actually I think it was theirs to lose, if anything, and unfortunately they did. So look, going back to what you said, it's always a big game. That's why the ticket prices are so high, which is a whole other topic. But we love a game against South Africa, and I'm sure you love a game against us. How it plays out to be seen. Haven't seen the team yet, so maybe there'll be a couple of differences, and we'll see something else this week. But
and then you look at the Springboks. Rassie names a bit of a weird side against Scotland, and kind of saves the big guns, your Cheslin Colbys, your Curtly Orances, Damien Delende, Jesse Creel puts Sia and Peter Steff on the bench. And there has sort of been this whole thing this week of we need to nerf the Springboks bomb squad. We need to sort of go back to 5 replacements and not 8 replacements so that it makes the game more dangerous. As an English fan, I doubt they're going to go 7-1 again. It's probably going to be a 6-2. As an English fan, what do you think of that bomb squad, and how does England sort of counter that and try and beat the Springboks at their game?
How do you beat the bomb squad? I mean, I think every team's trying to work that out at the moment. I know there's loads of talk about trying to find a way around it. I think there's more importance in the preservation of players. That's why we have that many subs in a game that has so much contact, that is so physical. I don't think you can take away a number of subs, because otherwise you'd have to drop some of that contact. You would have to take away from the game, which is inherently about that contact. So I don't know, maybe everyone's threatened by the fact that the South Africa have a depth to their squad, that they can move around their backs a little bit more. I think England have talked about it. You've got someone like Ben Earl who could go and play in the centres really easily. We could do a 7-1 split. Not sure we're brave enough to yet, but that, if Steve Borthwick brought out a 7-1 split this weekend, that would be ridiculous. But just going back to what you said about you've saved a lot of your big players for this game. It shows that you don't underestimate England, especially coming to Twickenham and coming to Allianz Stadium, as it is now called. But which means you are aware of the depth of our squad. There's always somebody, right? Let them have it. You're aware of the depth of our squad and the capability, we took it right down to the wire in the semi-final. I went into that game thinking it was yours, and a couple of minutes in, we stopped that first penalty, and I was like, hang on a second. I had hope all the way until the 78th minute, and it is the hope that kills you. I was sat on the floor in a pub, my head in the hands. I really believed for such a long time, but before the game I didn't, and maybe you could say the same about this weekend. Like, I don't personally believe we're going into this with an absolute definite win in our hands. I don't even, in many ways, I don't think we're really ready to challenge South Africa like we did in the World Cup, but I also wouldn't put it past England to have an opportunity to do something nobody saw coming, even if you have rested some of your better players.
But I mean, that's what makes England so dangerous, because in that semi-final last year in the World Cup, the Springboks were the favourites going into that, and it feels like when we play the English, they just lift their game.
Yeah.
Yes, they can play against New Zealand, and they had a good game against New Zealand, but then they play against Australia, and they kind of, the level that they play at is like for like of sort of the team that they're playing against.
Yeah.
So I think when they step up to the world champions, a lot of South Africans think this is going to be sort of a 15-20 point game that the Springboks are going to win by, but I just don't, standing here in front of Twickenham, I just don't see that happening. I think England are going to step up. They have absolutely nothing to lose. Let the ball fly and kind of see what happens.
Yeah, as a fan, it's like the most frustrating thing, because I can't say what's going to happen. There's just no way to know with that England team right now, and you know, it could come down to the last 10 minutes, or you could walk away with it in the first 30. I really hope that we can step up and bring it to you this time. Again, like we did last time, but like I say, I just no way to know. I would like to see a slightly mixed up selection. Tom Curry is out, Faye Waboso is out, which is a huge shame because he's been phenomenal, but hopefully that means Ollie Slightholme comes on and has an actual opportunity. We might see Finn Smith play, or at least on the bench, but I had this weird, I don't really understand our obsession with bringing George Ford on at the moment. He hasn't played much club rugby this year. He has been out injured, and I think we're all expecting what we saw with him against Argentina in the beginning of the World Cup to be where he is now, but he hasn't played enough rugby recently to be where he was, and maybe I think we're kind of blaming him just as a player, but actually bigger picture, he hasn't had enough game time, maybe in comparison to your Finn Smiths, etc. So I don't know, we'll see, but I back us to bring something. It's Twickenham, it's a totally different stadium when you're in there and everybody gets going. Like, there's a real atmosphere in Twickenham. It's one of my favourite stadiums in the world, so fingers crossed.
So I'm going to push you for a prediction.
I knew you were going to do that, and I was really trying to keep going so that you couldn't.
I'm going to push you for a prediction. A lot of people have been asking me for my predictions, so we're going to start with you. You're allowed to say the Springboks if you want.
Well, I am going to say the Springboks, unfortunately, and I think it's going to be close. So I'm going to say 31-24.
So Springboks by 7.
Yeah.
One try in it.
Yeah, maybe, yes.
I think
That's what I think you're going to see. Because I think we have the potential to score some tries both up front and out wide. And yes, I know obviously you've got Chelsea and Colby to come back, and yes, things are going to be different, but I think we've got some players that nobody's really seen play yet, and that's going to be the difference. Maybe in a foot race out and out, one end pitch to the other, you might have a faster player, but that doesn't a game make. So I'm going to say, I think right now, how we played the last 2 games, we don't quite have the killer instinct, but I think we've got something to push. So that's right.
Look, you guys have nothing to lose, and I think it's going to be one hell of a battle.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Springboks by 8. I think it's not going to be a 15-20 point game, and if it is, that's going to sort of be in the last 20 minutes when that bomb squad comes on and kind of run away with it. Sorry. But thank you so much for coming on. Thank you so much for coming on.
No, thanks for having me.
And if you guys don't mind, hit that subscribe button, and we will see you tomorrow and on Saturday for the Springboks taking on England here at Twickenham.